Procedures for ORI are used when the flight is to be inspected. The flight commander will be 6 paces away and centered in front of the flight after issuing the command, fall in. They will then put the flight in column formation in order to properly size it. After being sized while still in column formation, the flight commander will give the command, count off. Each rank will then consecutively turn their head 45 degrees to the right and count off their respective rank number. This command is given twice. Once complete, the flight commander will put the flight back in line formation and at parade rest. The flight commander will then face away from the flight and await the arrival of the inspector. When the inspector is seen approaching the flight commander will put the flight at attention. The flight commander will salute and give the proper greeting. The inspector will then order, "Prepare your flight for inspection," and upon receiving this command, the flight commander will face the flight and command, "Open ranks, march." For open ranks, the third element will remain stationary and immediately dress right dress. The second element will take 1 pace forward, stop, and then dress right dress, and the first element will take 2 paces forward, stop, and then dress right dress. While this is happening, the flight commander will position themselves beside and facing down the first element in order to align it. When adjusting a cadet, the flight commander will refer to them by the number they were in the element when counting off and tell them to move forward or backward. This is done for each element. The flight commander will then position themselves 3 paces in front of the guidon bearer's right side facing down the line and command, "Ready, front." The flight commander will take 1 pace forward and perform a right face in preparation to salute the inspector and render the verbiage, "Sir, ma'am, blank flight is prepared for inspection." At this time, the flight commander is inspected. While being inspected, the deputy flight commander takes 1 pace to the rear, performs a right face, and marches to a position 1 pace to the right and 1 pace in front of the guidon bearer and facing down the line. After being inspected, the flight commander makes a left face and commands second and third elements, "Parade, rest." The flight commander will then take 1 pace forward, execute a left face, and position themselves 2 paces to the right of the inspector, who will take the necessary amount of paces forward to inspect the guidon bearer. The deputy who is facing down the line will continue to do so in order to document discrepancies. To move down the line, the inspector will signal the flight commander with a head nod, and they will both execute a right face while marching, followed by an in-place hold. After inspecting the last individual, the flight commander remains stationary and allows the inspector and the deputy flight commander to go ahead and begin inspecting the rear of each cadet. The deputy will follow 2 paces behind the instructor, and the flight commander will follow 2 paces behind the deputy. After inspecting the rear of each rank, the inspector executes an about face to inspect the element leader of the next rank. The deputy flight commander marches past the inspector and resumes the position facing the inspector, while the flight commander will position themselves facing the second person in the next rank. Shortly before the inspector reaches them, the second element leader assumes the position of attention, turns their head 45 degrees to the left, and commands, "Blank element, attention." As soon as the previous element is done being inspected, that element leader will assume the position of attention, turn their head 45 degrees to the left, and command, "Blank element, parade, rest." This procedure is repeated throughout the remaining elements. After the last element has been inspected, the inspector will halt and perform an about face. The deputy flight commander remains while the flight commander will position themselves 1 pace away and centered facing them to record while the deputy is being inspected. The inspector will then command, "Post," and the deputy flight commander will return to the position within the flight while the flight commander and inspector march along the right flank back to the front of the flight. The flight commander takes 3 paces in front of the flight, performs a left face, and puts the flight back at attention. Then takes 1 pace forward and performs a right face. The inspector marches directly in front of the flight commander and provides comments. After receiving the comments, the flight commander will salute and greet the parting official. Finally, the flight commander will make a left face and command, "Close ranks, march," before resuming their position 3 paces and centered in front of the flight. This will conclude an open ranks inspection.